That winter storm that has left parts of the PD and Grand Strand covered in snow, sleet, and ice is gone, but the damage may be here for a few more days to come. I'm Allison Floyd.
And I'm Tim McGinnis. We're going to get to power outages and road conditions in a moment, but first, Chief Meteorologist Ed Piotrowski standing by in the First Warning Weather Center. Ed?
Well, thankfully, we're putting this winter storm behind us. At least the rain, sleet, snow, and freezing rain is long gone. In fact, the area of low pressure in the upper levels of the atmosphere about to move off the Delmarva Peninsula. Still snow from eastern Virginia into New England, but for us, skies are clearing very nicely out there now. The only small issue we still have is the fact that the winds are at times gusting up near 15 and 20 miles per hour. Now, normally that's not a big deal, but when you've got a lot of ice on trees still, and the fact that we've got a lot of weakened trees from all that ice, some of those limbs could come down and still cause additional power outages. So we hope that's not the case, especially since the winds will subside just a bit as we head through the overnight hours. Temperatures right now, this is good news, still above freezing. We figured we would not go below freezing until after midnight. Right now we range from 35 in Laurinburg to 38 in North Myrtle Beach and 39 in Kings Tree, while it's 37 in the city of Myrtle Beach. Here's our forecast as we head through the overnight hours. Look for lows in the mid to upper 20s inland, so any melting that occurred during the course of this day, any leftover water that did not evaporate is going to freeze inland tonight. On the beaches, even though we're below freezing, our roads are dry, so 31 for a low on the Grand Strand. Upper 20s inland at 8 a.m., mid 30s along the immediate coast. At lunchtime, we're in the mid 40s inland, right around 50 along the Grand Strand with wall-to-wall sunshine. Major melting will occur as we head through the daytime tomorrow, and even better as we head through the weekend. And if you like 70-degree temperature readings, you are going to love the 7-day forecast. More on that coming up later.
Thanks, Ed.
More than 75,000 people still do not have power tonight, and crews are working to get things back up and running.
Yeah, let's take a look at some of the current outages. This is from Duke Energy, Progress Energy, right now in Florence County. 14,582 people don't have power. That's one of their biggest outage areas right now. Let's go down to Georgetown County, where 1,730 people don't have power through Duke Energy. And up in Horry County, 936 people don't have power there. However, Horry Energy Cooperative is reporting a lot more than that right now, several thousand. So a lot of people out there without power tonight.
Yeah, but power through the night tonight has actually started coming on. We've had about 25,000 customers throughout our area who have gotten power back tonight. We're about at 75. We're about at 100,000 about 6 o'clock tonight. And with the power outage numbers still in the thousands, many South Carolinians are wondering when they will see light again. Some families in our area have not had power for more than a day now.
WPDE News Channel 15's Kayla Dorenzo visited one Horry County neighborhood currently in the dark to find out how they're holding up and get some answers. Kayla?
Tim and Allison, well, there wasn't much comfort on Comfort Court in Conway today when longtime resident and WPDE News Channel 15 viewer Brett Small called the newsroom this afternoon. It's been nearly 30 hours since the lights went out in his neighborhood, and now he's wondering why his neighbors across the street are up and running again, and he's still in a power struggle.
What I wouldn't give right now just for a hot shower. I don't even care if the heat comes back on, just, you know, some bit of warmth.
It's been more than 30 hours of darkness, cold, and hunger for residents of Comfort Court in Conway.
You can't get a shower because it's so cold in the house. You can't cook anything because your stove's electric. It's not fun. It's not fun at all.
And they're just two of over 100,000 people in our area finding some creative ways to keep warm and connected during the power outage.
Keep having to go out to the truck to charge phones and to get warm. I mean, gas isn't cheap. Power company ain't going to pay for that.
But the frustrating part for this group is that the development across the street lost power after they did, and they've seen power come back, while they, on the other hand, are still lighting candles to keep warm.
At least lie to me if you're going to say something, but I mean, tell me something. Don't just say I'm on the list. I've been on the list now for 27 hours.
So to help them, I called Penelope Hansen with the Horry Electric Co-op to find out why.
It's not really lights because their meter is running. They could have a generator, or they could have a kerosene lantern or something that just looks like they have lights.
Henson says the crews at Horry Electric are working around the clock to restore power fully to all customers, and that homes next to each other may have their power restored at different times.
You'll see improvement in numbers very quickly, and we want people to be sure that they check their individual taps, their weather heads, to make sure that they're ready to receive power when we're ready to deliver it.
And if you do decide to run a generator at your home, you're reminded to make sure to do so outside. Tim and Allison.
All right, thanks, Kayla. The storm is gone, but the destruction it's left behind, as you just saw, still lingers.
Right now, more than 75,000 people are without power all over the PD and Grand Strand, and Duke Energy brought in an additional 250 people from other states to help restore power. The company provides service for 51,000 homes and businesses in Florence County alone. Deputy and police were brought in to help direct traffic after the lights went dark and the street lights were down. Many drivers say they appreciate what officers are doing in the midst of this ice storm.
Oh, I think it's a good thing that and I've seen them all over town and trying to make sure they cut down on the amount of accidents that are happening and stuff. It seems like the right thing to do.
According to county leaders, at one point, 93% of residents in Marion County did not have power.
Because there are so many people without power and without heat, the American Red Cross has opened several shelters in the area. If you go, you need to take personal items, things like blankets, hygiene items, and that sort of thing. Now, in Florence County, there's a shelter open at South Florence High School. In Lower Florence County is shelters at Lake City High.
In Dillon County, Dillon High School's a shelter there, and in Marion County, Marion High School's being used as a shelter.
There are two in Horry County, Beach Church on George Bishop Parkway and the Conway Recreation Center on Mill Pond Road.
An estimated 30 people are right now calling South Florence High School home as they wait for their power to be restored. But at one point during the night, that shelter also lost power. As the backup generators kicked in, volunteers did what they could to get the power restored. And finally, when the lights came back on, residents like Terry Billings breathed a sigh of relief.
Lights went out last night about 8 o'clock, so it's pretty cold in the house. So I'm really glad to be here, and I'm glad that they're here for us.
Again, that American Red Cross shelter is open throughout the night.
Go
ahead.
Horry County Public Schools will be open tomorrow on regular schedule, with the exception of 6 schools. Those Horry County schools that are closed tomorrow are Ainer Middle, Elementary and High, Midland Elementary School, and Green C. Floyd's Elementary and High Schools. Bus transportation will not run in the Ainer and Green C. Floyd's attendance areas for any students on Friday. All other public schools in the area are closed. Those include Georgetown, Florence, Marion, Marlboro, Darlington, Dillon, Robeson, and Scotland counties. Governor Nikki Haley is asking state lawmakers to allow school districts to be able to make the decision about whether to waive the missed days rather than make them up later.
4 people have lost their lives in South Carolina from this storm, and a Marion woman is among them.
According to Marion Fire Chief Trey Cooper, a man was trying to heat a home on Upland Avenue with an oil-burning stove. The stove caught fire and spread to the home. Sadly, a woman inside died. The man's being treated for serious injuries. The South Carolina Highway Patrol says 2 other people were killed in traffic accidents on icy roads, and another died from carbon monoxide poisoning.
The roads are a major concern tonight just because of the sleet and snow and ice in some areas, but also because of the wind.
Gusty conditions tonight mean already weakened trees and limbs will continue to come crashing down, often bringing the power lines with them. Highway Patrol says conditions on major roadways have improved, but secondary roads are still a concern. What they're most worried about is someone driving at night, coming up on a downed tree or power line without realizing it's there. So if you have to drive, go slow and be careful. Right now, the South Carolina Department of Transportation is reporting that Darlington and Marlboro counties still have roads partially covered with snow and ice. Crews are out de-icing primary roads and bridges. Another big problem tonight across the area, trees and limbs down on roadways.
And earlier today, we did find some roads temporarily blocked by road debris, and other roads had the trees hanging over them, including Antioch Road west of Conway. Horry County Public Works crews, police, firefighters, and even ambulance crews were pressed into action to clear the debris off the roads.
We want to get the main path for the engine, the medic, cleared and, cleared out of the way with all the ice. There's ice built up on the side from all the trees falling and stuff.
Officials say county crews cannot remove debris, though, from private property. That is the property owner's responsibility. County fire officials do ask, though, to use extra caution if you plan to burn the debris that's on your property.
As the storm comes to an end, scammers are moving in.
The Coastal Carolina Better Business Bureau says scammers will see this winter storm as an opportunity to pretend that they are a part of a professional tree service company and take your money and leave you empty-handed. They say you need to check for a business license, check their license plate to see if it says South Carolina, and don't always trust phone book ads. Paul Jolly says that's why he hires close to home.
Right, that's why we're going with the family and try to save as much money as possible.
Try to avoid paying money up front, and the Better Business Bureau also warns that if someone knocks on your door asking for work, that could be a sign that something's not right. The BBB has a website where you can check to see if a business is accredited, and for that link, just head to your website, carolinalive.com.
A suspicious package on Highway 544 had traffic just west of 31 at a standstill tonight. Horry County Police say the device was destroyed and one person's in custody. Those are all the details that have been released at this time. The road is now open.
Next on your news at 11.
It's not necessarily what women want, but rather what they need to know.
Heart disease claims the lives of adults more than anything else. The 5 things cardiologists want women to know is straight ahead.
You're watching your news on News Channel 15 at 11 with Allison Floyd and Tim McGinnis.
It is American Heart Month, and heart disease is still the leading killer of both men and women. Last night we gave you 5 things cardiologists want men to know, and 3 of those do apply to women as well. Rather than a low-fat diet, you should be on a Mediterranean diet, which means nuts, grains, and legumes with every meal, fish and chicken about 3 times a week, and try to avoid red meats and sweets. Also, you should choose olive oil. If you've had a stroke in the past, you're more at risk for heart disease, so discuss that with your doctor. And sleep apnea can lead to abnormal heart rhythms, which can lead to changes in the heart, and that can lead to heart failure. And it is important to know that 1 in 4 women will die from heart disease. So here are 5 things cardiologists want women to know. We've all heard of the typical heart attack symptom of severe chest pain like an elephant sitting on your chest, but that's not always the case for women. Women's heart disease symptoms may go beyond just chest pain.
What we've learned is that some women actually present with more GI symptoms. It may be nausea, it may be vomiting, some more epigastric discomfort than actual chest pain. And what we've learned is to take that very seriously and make sure those symptoms aren't the heart instead of assuming it's from the abdomen.
If someone is having chest pressure, pain, or discomfort in their chest with exertion, they stop, and within 5 to 10 minutes it goes away. Or if they're getting shortness of breath, exerting, going up a flight of stairs where 2 weeks ago, no problem. You stop, it goes away in 5 to 10 minutes. That is a red flag for heart disease.
For years, we heard a daily aspirin could reduce your risk of heart disease, but that may not be right for everyone. The risk of bleeding from a daily aspirin could be greater than the reduction in your cardiovascular risk.
Now, certainly if you've ever had a stroke or a heart attack or you have diabetes, then you should be on an aspirin, particularly over age 45. However, if you've never had one of these and you're less than age 45, your risk of bleeding from aspirin is probably higher than any benefit you'd see. If you're 45 to 60, depending on your risk factors such as diabetes, smoking, and your cholesterol, will make that choice of aspirin a personal one between you and your physician. But certainly everyone who's over 45 should not be on aspirin unless they have risk factors, as there are real risks of bleeding with aspirin.
Stress is a risk factor for everyone for heart disease, but we as women tend to handle it differently. We hold it in. Internalized stress is a risk factor for women.
For women, stress is even maybe more of an issue than for men. I think when you look at the comparison between women and men, women tend to internalize it. Not only that, is that when the man comes home from work, he lets his stress go. And he then kind of gets to a level where he's not worried about anything. The wife or the mother continues to have a full-time job, worrying about the food, making sure people are doing their homework, that the house is clean. That job never ends.
If you had problems in pregnancy, specifically preeclampsia or gestational diabetes, you need to be monitored later in life. Problems in pregnancy could be a future indicator of heart disease.
Preeclampsia is associated with some hypertension, swelling, and that may be an increased risk that that woman could develop sustained hypertension in the future, which means she just needs to be monitored and checked by her doctor regularly to make sure that doesn't happen. Gestational diabetes can also be a precursor to more permanent diabetes, which means the woman needs to take good care of her health, eat healthily, not gain weight, keep her BMI down, and again, address these concerns with her physician on a regular basis.
Some women do need to be on hormone replacement therapy, but not all women do. You need to discuss that with your doctor, and hormone replacement therapy will not protect you from heart disease.
In the 90s, we all thought that hormone replacement would actually protect you from heart attacks, and then through a number of studies, we now see that it may not only not be protective, that it could even potentially be harmful, particularly in elder patients who smoke. So we certainly don't put anybody on hormone replacement therapy to protect them from heart disease anymore.
And if you missed the 5 things that cardiologists want men to know that aired last night at 11, you can see that story as well as this one on your website, carolinalive.com.
Former Vice President Walter Mondale is recovering tonight from heart surgery at the Mayo Clinic. The surgery comes 9 days after his wife Joan died at the age of 83. Mondale served under President Jimmy Carter and was the Democratic nominee for president in 1984. He lost that bid to Ronald Reagan. Mondale is expected to make a full recovery.
Next on your news at 11.
Out with the winter storm and in with a warm-up. Going to get nice and warm as we head through the weekend, comparatively speaking, and even warmer next week. I'll have the numbers for you next.
your first warning weather with Chief Meteorologist Ed Piotrowski.
Well, after 3 days with wintry precipitation across the area, our long-lasting epic winter storm is finally pulling away from the Carolinas and will continue to head to the north and east as we head through tonight. Our skies have cleared very nicely, and that's going to be the case for the rest of the night. Now, earlier today, some of you saw some snow. We talked about that last night being a real possibility for today across the PD, and indeed we had that. But you may have noticed what looked to be very unusual snow falling from the sky. This is a unique kind of snow called graupel, and basically what that is you have snowflakes falling out of the cloud. It hits a layer in the atmosphere where it's obviously very wet and cold, but it's not frozen, and that water has a tendency to encapsulate the snowflake, freezes, and that snowflake and the water fall to the ground as what appears to be a little styrofoam ball, and that's what this was today, falling out of the sky, water, and of course, snowflakes, what we call graupel. Jeff Davis, thank you so much for that great photo. Temperatures right now are in the mid to upper 30s everywhere, from 35 in Laurinburg to 37 in Conway and in the city of Myrtle Beach. Thankfully, we're above freezing, so things are still melting out there, even though the sun is down. But it is going to get colder as we head through the overnight hours, eventually with the winds dying off just a bit. We'll be in the mid to upper 20s inland and right around 30 down by the beaches. And you know, a lot of the roads inland are fairly dry. Not everywhere, but fairly dry. But all it takes is for you to hit one small patch of black ice and then you lose control. So you've got to be very careful across the PD and on the border belt, especially as we head through tonight and during the daytime tomorrow, especially in the morning hours. All right, let's take a look at high resolution futurecast. You don't see any clouds, you don't see any rain. That's because it'll be perfectly sunny as we head through tomorrow morning. We head through lunchtime, it looks great, but later in the afternoon we'll start to see more clouds rolling in, so skies will likely become partly sunny, but no precipitation as we head through tomorrow. That may change a little bit as we head through tomorrow night. Strong system in the upper levels of the atmosphere will swing through the area, and as it does, it'll capitalize on whatever moisture is in the atmosphere, and we may see a few showers roll through overnight. Most of those showers should be off the coast by 7 o'clock in the morning. Only a slight chance before that as we see it right now. And that's important because we have the Myrtle Beach Marathon coming up. More on that in just a second. As the day goes along on Saturday, increasing amounts of sunshine. And your Sunday looks to be fantastic with lots of sunshine. And temperatures in the 50s will still be below normal, but it's certainly a lot better than it has been over the past 3 or 4 days. Here's a look at those high temperatures. 50s Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. That never looks so good, huh? 60 by Monday, and oh my goodness, it is Shangri-La around here by Tuesday and Wednesday. This winter storm, hopefully just a fading memory at that point in time. 70 on Tuesday. We're likely into the mid-70s as we head through the daytime on Wednesday. Even if you're a snow lover, you've got to love a forecast that calls for a warming after what we've all been dealing with here for the past 3 days. All right, marathon forecast for Saturday morning. Can't rule out a shower early in the race. The race begins at 6:30, 40 degrees and a chance for some showers, but pretty quickly we should become mostly sunny. Rest of the race looks good, and temperature-wise, not bad. Mid-40s at 9:30, 12:30 we should be at 52. I've done some marathons, and to me this is near perfect weather, minus the wind. The wind's a little bit high for my liking, but bottom line, it won't be too bad after we get through that chance of showers early on Saturday morning. All right, your forecast on Valentine's morning. Tomorrow morning, plenty of sunshine, upper 20s to mid-30s. But warming quickly as we head into the afternoon, well above the freezing mark. High temperatures in the mid-50s on the beaches with a nice breeze out of the west and southwest. Skies will become partly sunny, so not perfectly sunny. As we head through the afternoon across the PD, becoming partly sunny here as well. Warmer and breezy. The highs in the upper 40s where we still got snow and ice on the ground. As you head south of that area of snow and ice where we have a bare ground, we're expecting temperatures in the low to mid-50s. The Earth, of course, just absorbs more heat, and it radiates more heat when that's the case. Snow reflects a lot of that. Here's your Grand Strand 7-day forecast. Saturday and Sunday, quite a bit of sunshine after a small chance of a shower on Friday night. Back into the mid-50s, 60 on Monday, mid to upper 60s on Tuesday, Wednesday, and back near 70 as we head through Thursday. We'll trade the parkas for perhaps some shorts by the time we get to the end of next week. Inland, chance of a few showers on Friday night. Saturday looks mostly sunny, or actually a lot of sunshine. Sunday, mostly sunny. Monday as well. Look at the high temperatures back into the 60s by Monday and Tuesday. Low 70s on Wednesday, and before you know it, we're back into the mid-70s as we head through the daytime on Thursday. And this is one of the many hundreds of pictures that we received. And tell you what, you don't see this too often coming into the state of South Carolina, surrounded by snow. Thanks to Charles and McCall for the great pictures. Smiling faces in beautiful places and snow.
Despite the ice and the snow. Thanks, Ed. School officials in North Carolina canceled school today.
And get this, they did it in just the most perfect way.
All right, stop, collaborate and listen. Ice is back and the roads will glisten. Polar vortex has a hold of us tightly. Wind like a harpoon daily and nightly.
Will the power stop?
No.
I don't know. Turn up the heat and let go. Sleep falling down like a million missiles, bringing school delays and early dismissals. Dang, go to school, there's ice, baby.
I love it. Vanilla Ice has nothing on these school officials in Durham, North Carolina. Excellent.
I hope students at that school appreciate what their principal is doing.
I know it. Well, speaking of Vanilla Ice, Mark Haggard is in next with sports. He'll talk about the South Carolina Gamecocks basketball team on the floor trying to end a 5-game losing streak.
And a former CCU golf star had an amazing first round on this week's PGA Stop Out West. Mark Haggard has the day in sports when we come back.
Your 15 Sports with Sports Director Rich Crampanis.
Mark Haggard in for Rich. You'll see why in a moment. Top area sports story of the day happened on the PGA Tour. After finishing tied for second last week, Dustin Johnson is on top of the leaderboard. The ex-Coastal Carolina All-American was on fire at the Northern Trust Open today. DJ shot a 5-under par 66 during his first round. Dustin is in the lead by 1 shot. Play was suspended late in the round because of darkness.
You know, the greens are pretty firm, so it's, you know, it's tough to get it really close to the hole, but, you know, I just played solid all day, kept it, you know, we kept it in the fairway and, you know, had a lot of looks at birdie. You know, obviously, you know, coming off a great week last week and, you know, the game's starting to, you know, it's pretty solid right now. So, you know, I'm real comfortable over the ball and, you know, I'm just playing well.
In Columbia, South Carolina head coach Frank Martin at it again, screaming his head off as the Gamecocks took on Vanderbilt. Sindarius Thornwell had his shooting stroke working. He led South Carolina with 19 points. The Gamecocks beat Vandy 65-59. South Carolina ended a 5-game losing streak. And this was the scene last night in Lexington, Virginia. More than 1 foot of snow fell during Coastal Carolina's basketball game at VMI. Today, the CCU team bus was stranded in Virginia on their way back to Conway. Head coach Cliff Ellis told me by phone that the team is in good spirits. They even built a snowman on I-74 to pass the time. Our Rich Crampanis also having trouble getting back after covering that game last night. Rich safely in a hotel room. Here's a shot of the parking lot where he's staying. As for the game, Elijah Wilson scored 26 points to lead CCU to an 83-78 win over VMI. The Shants now in first place in the South Division of the Big South Conference. Our Rich Crampanas talked with Coach Ellis about the home stretch, starting with the Shants' next game on Saturday in Conway.
We got to think of the 5 games that we got left. We're trying to win a championship. Gardner-Webb's next, 7 o'clock at home, and we need spirit, we need energy, we need a great crowd, and even saying that, Gardner-Webb is undefeated on the road.
And I just spoke with Coach Ellis again, and he said, "How's Rich doing?" I said, "Oh, he's in a hotel room. He's fine." You're out on the interstate in a bus with all these ball players trying to get back. They're going to be whipped when they play their next game on Saturday.
Yes, they are.
I hope there's some fast food restaurants or something like that around.
We want everybody to be safe and get back to Conway. Okay.
You know why Rich is still in the hotel, right? He talked to me before he left, said, "Should I leave?" I go, "Don't leave. 2 feet of snow possible in the Appalachian Mountains in Virginia."
Weather knowledge.
I wish Cliff would have called me.
Yes.
We would have told him to stay there. But warm-up is on the way for
Good.
us, and that's what's important. We're expecting highs in the mid-50s on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, back to 60 on Monday. Before you know it, we're getting into the low to mid-70s for Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. I'll tell you what, even 50s never look so good when you consider how cold it's been around here the last couple of days. And I know we're all thinking of this, but we are really thinking of all the folks that don't have power tonight, and hopefully that'll get back really, really soon.
Hope so. That does it for us tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Have a great night and stay warm.